Welcome back to the commonly used Excel charts and functions video series. Today in lesson 21, we will cover AverageIF and AverageIFs. Alright, we're going to work through two functions highlighted in the blue text here, AverageIF and AverageIFs. We're also going to use the hotel rating and price data table to the left to work through each function. Let's start with AverageIF. I'm interested in comparing the average price of a regular hotel and an Airbnb, so let's start with the regular hotel. I'm going to type my function in and select it. And by looking at the syntax, you can see that there are three different arguments. The first is the range, and this will be the criteria range. Since we're only looking for the price of regular hotels, our criteria range will be the type column. Next is our criteria. Now in past videos, we've been manually typing out our criteria, but one trick with Excel is that you can actually select any cell that has your criteria listed in it. So for example, I can select this cell here since it has regular typed out. Next is our average range. Since we're looking for the average price, that will be our price column. Alright, now I'll do the same, but with Airbnb. Now let's move on to AverageIFs. AverageIFs is similar to AverageIF, except more than one selection criteria can be used. In this case, we are looking for the average price of regular hotels that also have a rating that is greater than or equal to 4. Let's start by typing in our function and selecting it. By looking at the syntax, you can see it's a bit different than AverageIF. We're starting with our average range this time, which will be the price column. Now we'll do our first criteria range. This can be either the customer rating or type column. It doesn't matter which one we use first. I'm going to use the customer rating column first. Now we must put the criteria that corresponds to our first criteria range. Since customer rating is our first criteria range, our criteria needs to be that the rating must be greater than or equal to 4. However, we don't have a cell that specifically has greater than or equal to 4 typed out into it, so we're going to have to manually type the criteria for this criteria range. And remember, it has to be in double quotations. Alright, now we move on to our second criteria range, which will be the type column. And then our second criteria, which corresponds to our second criteria range, will be regular. This time we can select any cell that has regular typed out into it. I'm going to select this one again. One thing I just quickly wanted to mention is that in some cases, AverageIF and AverageIFs aren't the most efficient way to perform a calculation. Pivot tables can be a better choice. We covered pivot tables in lesson 11. That concludes today's lesson where we learned AverageIF and AverageIFs. Thank you for watching and tune into the next lesson where we will cover the lookup functions.